Hello everyone, tonight we begin with the relentless sun beating down on your back somewhere in the rolling hills of Latium 150 BCE. You're a Roman farmer, your hands cracked and bleeding from gripping a wooden plow, the earth beneath you stubborn as a mule. The air smells of dust and sweat, with a faint tang of manure carried on the breeze. Your tunic clings to your skin soaked through, and every muscle screams as you drag the plow through soil that feels more like stone. In the distance, a crow caws its voice, mocking, as if it knows something you don't. A question gnaws at you, sharp as the blade you sharpened last night. Is this life worth living? Or are you just breaking your back for a Rome that doesn't care? You're watching from where? What time is it there? Drop a comment. I'd love to know who's curled up under the blankets with me each night. You're not a citizen of the glittering city, not one of those toga-clad senators debating in the forum or sipping wine in a villa. You're a plebeian farmer tied to a scrap of land your family has worked for generations. Your farm is small, a patchwork of barley fields, olive trees, and a few scrawny goats. The house is a squat thing of mud and straw, its roof leaking when the rains come. You live with your wife Livia, whose hands are as calloused as yours, and your son Marcus, who's barely old enough to hold a sickle. Every dawn you rise before the sun, your breath clouding in the chill, and every dusk you collapse, your body aching, your dreams too tired to form. Today you're plowing the south field, the one that's always been trouble. The soil is heavy, clotted with clay, and the plow jerks in your hands, catching on roots and rocks. You curse under your breath, the words swallowed by the wind. The field needs to be ready for planting, or you'll have no crop to sell, no coin to pay the tax collector, who'll come sniffing soon enough. Taxes are the lifeblood of Rome, they say, funding legions and aqueducts. But to you, they're a noose tightening each year as the city grows hungrier. You pause, wiping sweat from your brow, and notice a figure at the field's edge. It's old Gaius, the neighbor whose land borders yours. He's a wiry man, his face like leather left too long in the sun, his eyes sharp despite his years. Gaius is a mystery. Some say he was a soldier once, others that he's a haruspex, reading omens in the guts of sacrificed animals. You've seen him muttering to himself at dusk, his hands stained with blood, and you've heard whispers of strange rituals in his olive grove. He leans on a gnarled staff watching you, and you feel a chill, though the sun is high. You're fighting a losing battle. Gaius calls his voice rough as gravel. You scowl, not in the mood for his riddles, but he steps closer, his staff tapping the earth. This land's cursed, he says, gesturing to the field. Always has been. The gods don't like it. You want to laugh it off. Curses are for poets and priests, not farmers. But his eyes hold you dark and unblinking. You notice a small amulet around his neck, a bronze wolf's head, its jaws open as if to bite. It's a symbol of the old ways of Lupercalia and the she-wolf who suckled Romulus, a reminder of a Rome before marble and legions. You shake your head, turning back to the plow. Gods or no gods, I've got to eat, you mutter, but his words linger heavy as the clay. Gaius has a knack for unsettling you, for making you question the life you've accepted. You think of the stories he tells, tales of angry spirits of fields that refused to yield, of farmers who defied the gods and paid in blood. You've never believed them, not really, but the south field's barren patches and stunted crops make you wonder, what if he's right? What if the land is cursed and you're pouring your life into a grave? The moral conflict creeps in, quiet but insistent. Do you keep working this land, breaking your body for a harvest that might never come, or do you walk away, abandon the farm your father left you, Leaving means failure, poverty, maybe starvation, in the city's slums where farmers become beggars. Staying means fighting a battle you're not sure you can win, not against the land, the taxes, or Rome's endless hunger. You think of modern life, of grinding through emails and deadlines, knowing the system's rigged but pushing on anyway. Here the system is Rome and you're a cog grinding down with every furrow. Gaius watches you still, his wolf amulet glinting. There's a ritual, he says, his voice low, almost a whisper. To appease the gods. Blood for the earth. I can show you. His offer is a hook barbed and dangerous. You know what he means. Sacrifice, maybe a goat, maybe something more. You've seen the altars in his grove stained dark, and you've heard the village whispers. Gaius speaks to spirits. Gaius defies the priests. To join him is to step outside Rome's laws, to risk the wrath of both gods and men. To refuse is to keep plowing, to bet your life on a field that hates you. You grip the plow, its wood splintering under your hands, and feel the sun's weight, the earth's resistance, the village's eyes. Livia is at home kneading dough, her faith in you unshaken. Marcus is in the barn feeding the goats, his future tied to this land. Gaius waits, his staff planted like a challenge. The crow caws again louder, and you swear it's laughing. You want to tell Gaius to leave, to take his curses and rituals and go, but the field's barren patches stare back, and you wonder if you're the fool, not him. The wolf amulet gleams, a symbol of a Rome you don't understand, and you feel the choice pressing in: break your back for a city that doesn't care, or break your soul for a chance at something more. The day stretches on the sun, climbing your shadow, shrinking. You plow another furrow, the earth yielding nothing but dust. Gaius lingers, a specter at the field's edge, and you know he'll be there tomorrow, the next day, his offer hanging like a storm cloud. The village waits, its fields and altars, a battlefield where gods and men wager your life. You drive the plow deeper, your hands bleeding, and wonder if you're digging a harvest or a grave. The crow takes flight, its wings a dark promise, and you realize this is only the beginning, that Rome's hunger will ask more of you than you can give. The dusk settles over your farm like a heavy cloak, the sky bruised purple and gold, the air thick with the scent of cooling earth and crushed barley. You're in the barn, the rough-hewn beams creaking above you as you pitch hay to the goats, their bleats sharp and demanding. Your hands still raw from yesterday's plowing sting, with every movement, and the south field's stubborn clay haunts your thoughts, its barren patches a silent rebuke. Gaius's words. Cursed land, blood for the earth. Coil in your mind, his wolf amulet glinting in memory. You shake it off, focusing on the hay, the goats, the familiar rhythm of a life you've always known. But the barn feels smaller tonight, the shadows deeper, as if something is watching from the corners. You pause, leaning on the pitchfork, and hear a faint hum, like a voice carried on the wind. It's not the goats, not the creak of the barn, but something else, low and rhythmic, coming from outside. You step to the door, the evening chill brushing your skin, and see a flicker of light in Gaius's olive grove just beyond the fence that separates your land from his. The hum grows clearer, a chant you realize soft and cyclical, rising and falling like waves. Your stomach twists. Gaius is at it again, his rituals, his defiance of Rome's gods and priests. You should turn back, finish your chores, and crawl into bed beside Livia, but your feet move, drawn to the light, like a moth to a flame. The grove is dense, the olive trees gnarled and ancient, their leaves silver in the twilight. The air here smells different, resinous, heavy with sap, and something metallic, like blood left to dry. You keep to the shadows, your heart thudding, and crouch behind a tree peering through the branches. Gaius stands in a small clearing, his staff planted in the earth, the wolf amulet swaying at his chest. Before him is a low altar, rough stone stained dark, and on it lies a small clay figure crudely shaped, its surface pricked with thorns. He's chanting, his voice a drone that seems to pull the air tighter, and he pours a dark liquid wine blood you can't tell from a jug onto the figure. The ground drinks it, and you swear you hear a sigh, though it might be the wind. You're not alone. Another figure kneels beside Gaius, cloaked and hooded, their face hidden. You strain to see your breath shallow and catch a glimpse of pale hands, fingers twisted with age or pain. The figure murmurs, echoing Gaius's chant, and you recognize the voice, though it takes a moment to place it. Claudia, the widow who lives at the village's edge. She's a recluse, her hut surrounded by herbs and bones, her name whispered in the market, as a healer or a hag, depending on who's talking. You've bought salves from her for Livia's coughs, but you've never seen her like this, kneeling in the dark, her hand trembling as she scatters ashes on the altar. The scene is a violation, a crack in the world you've tried to hold together. Rome's gods, Jupiter, Ceres, Mars, demand order, sacrifice in temples, not in groves under a fading sky. Gaius and Claudia are defying that order, invoking something older, something the priests would call profane. The clay figure on the altar is a symbol, you realize, a poppet meant to bind or curse, a tool of the old magic that Rome's laws have tried to bury. You've heard stories of such things, of farmers who turned to forbidden rites to save their crops, only to lose everything: land, family, life. Gaius's chant grows louder, and the poppet seems to glow, though it's probably just the firelight playing tricks. You want to run to forget you ever saw this, but your legs won't move. The moral conflict is a blade at your throat. Do you report Gaius and Claudia expose their ritual to the village elders, or stay silent, letting their defiance fester? Reporting them would earn you favor, maybe leniency when the tax collector comes. The elders hate anything that smells of the old ways, and a word from you could see Gaius's land seized, Claudia's hut burned. But betrayal is a stain, one that would mark you in the village's eyes, in Livia's, in your own. Silence is safer, but it makes you complicit, a witness to a rite that could curse your fields as easily as save them. You think of modern life, of scrolling past a scandal online, choosing not to comment, not to care. Here, silence is a choice, and it weighs like iron. Claudia rises, her hood falling back, and you see her face lined fierce, her eyes reflecting the fire like twin stars. She's no witch, you tell yourself, just a woman desperate enough to kneel in the dark. But desperation is dangerous, and Gaius's staff, its runes carved deep, seems to hum with a power you don't understand. He stops chanting, his head snapping toward you, and you freeze, your breath caught. Did he see you? The shadows hide you, but his eyes are sharp, and you feel stripped, as if he can sense your fear, your indecision. Claudia follows his gaze, her hands clutching the poppet, and you pray to any god listening that they don't move closer. They don't. Gaius mutters something to Claudia, and she nods, wrapping the poppet in a cloth. They douse the fire, the smoke curling like a dying snake, and slip into the grove, their forms swallowed by the trees. You wait, your heart pounding, until the night is silent, save for the rustle of leaves. You stumble back to the barn, your hands shaking, the pitchfork forgotten on the ground. The goats bleat annoyed at the interrupted meal, but you barely hear them. The poppet's image burns in your mind, its thorns a warning, its purpose a mystery. Was it meant to heal the land or curse it? Was it for Gaius's fields or yours? You return to the house, the door creaking as you enter. Livia is by the hearth, stirring a pot of barley stew, her face soft in the firelight. She looks up, smiling, but her eyes narrow at your expression. "What's wrong?" she asks, setting the spoon down. You want to tell her about Gaius Claudia, the ritual, but the words choke you. Livia is practical, her faith in Ceres and the household gods unwavering. She'd call it madness or worse, danger, and she'd be right. But silence is a lie, and you feel it growing between you, a crack in the life you've built. You sit the stew's warmth, doing little to ease the cold in your bones. "Just tired," you say, forcing a smile. She doesn't press, but her gaze lingers, and you know she senses something. The poppet haunts you, a symbol of a world you've glimpsed but don't understand. You think of the south field, its clay unyielding, and wonder if Gaius's ritual could change it, if blood could coax life from death. You think of Rome, its taxes, and legions, its gods who demand obedience but offer no mercy. The choice presses in: speak and risk the village's wrath, or stay silent and risk something darker, something that hums in the grove's shadows. The night deepens, the fire crackling, Livia's breathing soft as she sleeps beside you. You lie awake, the poppet's thorns pricking your thoughts. Gaius and Claudia are out there, their secrets a thread you've stumbled into. The village sleeps, its fields and altars waiting, but you feel the earth shifting as if it knows what you've seen. You close your eyes, but sleep is far, and the wind outside carries a hum, faint and rhythmic, like a chant that hasn't ended. You're a farmer, not a priest, not a trader, but the grove's light lingers, and you know this choice will follow you. Heavy as the clay you'll plow tomorrow. The morning sun is a harsh judge, glaring down on your farm as you trudge to the south field, a sickle in hand and a weight in your chest. The air is crisp, smelling of dew-soaked barley and the faint musk of livestock, but it does little to clear the fog in your mind. Gaius's ritual in the olive grove. The clay poppet pricked with thorns, and Claudia's fierce eyes, they cling to you like damp wool, heavy and inescapable. You didn't tell, Livia couldn't find the words to bridge the gap between her steady faith and the shadows you glimpsed. The lie sits sour in your gut, but the truth feels worse, a spark that could burn your life to ash. You focus on the field, its clay still unyielding, its patches of dead earth, a silent taunt. Today, you'll cut the barley that's managed to grow, hoping it's enough to keep the tax collector at bay. Your son Marcus trails behind, his small hands clutching a basket to gather the stalks. He's quiet, his eyes bright but wary, as if he senses the tension you carry. You ruffle his hair, forcing a smile, and he grins back, though it's fleeting. The field stretches before you, its green marred by brown, and you swing the sickle, the blade biting into the stalks with a soft hiss. The work is rhythmic, almost meditative, but your thoughts keep drifting to Gaius's amulet. The wolf's jaws open, a symbol of a Rome older than the one you serve. You wonder what he and Claudia were asking for: rain, fertility, or something darker, something that could twist the land against you. A shadow falls across the field, and you look up, your heart stuttering. It's not Gaius, but Amelia, the village's unofficial matriarch, her gray hair braided tight, her face carved with years of sun and sorrow. She's a widow, her husband lost to a legion's march, and she holds sway in the village, her word as good as law among the farmers. She leans on a cane, its tip worn smooth, and watches you with eyes that seem to see too much. You've always respected her, even feared her a little. Her tongue is sharp, her judgment sharper. Hard at it. I see, she says, her voice dry as the dust at her feet. You nod, wiping sweat from your brow, and keep cutting, hoping she'll move on. She doesn't. Amelia steps closer, her cane tapping the earth, and you feel Marcus tense beside you. The land's fighting you, she says, gesturing to the barren patches. Always has. Your father had the same trouble. Her words are a probe testing you, and you wonder if she knows about Gaius, if someone saw you near his grove. The village is a web of eyes, and Amelia is its spider catching whispers before they fade. You shrug, trying to keep your voice steady. It's tough, but we manage, you say, but the lie tastes like ash. You're not managing, not with the taxes looming, not with the field's curse, not with the poppet's thorns pricking your thoughts. Amelia's gaze shifts to Marcus, and she softens just a fraction. Boy's growing strong, she says, but there's an edge to it, a warning you can't place. She pulls a small object from her shawl, a bronze coin stamped with the face of a god, maybe Janus, the two-faced watcher of beginnings and ends. She presses it into Marcus's hand, her fingers lingering. For luck, she says, but her eyes are on you, and you feel the coin's weight, its dual faces, a symbol of choice, of betrayal or loyalty. Janus is Rome's god of thresholds, of decisions that can't be undone. And Amelia's gift feels like a challenge, a reminder that every step you take is a door closing behind you. You pocket the coin for Marcus, its metal cool against your skin, and return to the barley. The sickle's rhythm, a frail shield against her scrutiny. Amelia lingers, her cane a steady beat, and you sense she's not here by chance. There's talk, she says, finally, her voice low, meant for you alone. About Gaius. About his grove. The elders don't like it. Your blood chills, though the sun burns your neck. You keep cutting the stalks falling and pray your face doesn't betray you. Talk's cheap, you mutter, but your voice is thin, and Amelia's lips twitch, not quite a smile. Cheap until it isn't, she says. The priests are watching, and Rome doesn't forgive those who stray. She pauses, her cane sinking deeper into the earth. If you know anything, you'd be wise to speak, for your family's sake. The words are a blade, sharp and cold, and you feel them at your throat. The moral conflict is a storm now tearing at you. Do you name Gaius and Claudia, offer their ritual to the elders, and buy safety for yourself, for Livia, for Marcus, or do you hold your silence, protecting them, but risking everything, your land, your son, your life? Betrayal would mark you a stain. The village would never forget, but silence could drag you all into the fire. You think of modern life, of whistleblowers vilified or praise their lives upended by a single truth. Here, truth is a death sentence, and silence might be no better. Amelia watches, her eyes like Janus's, seeing both what you are and what you might become. The coin in your pocket feels heavier. Its two faces a mirror to your indecision. You want to tell her you saw nothing, that Gaius is just a strange old man, but the poppet's image stops you, its thorns a warning. What if the ritual was for you a curse to ruin your fields? What if it was for the village a plea to save it? You don't know, and that ignorance is a chain binding you to a choice you're not ready to make. Marcus drops his basket, the stalks spilling, and you kneel to help him, grateful for the distraction. Amelia steps back, her cane leaving divots in the earth. Think on it, she says, and turns away, her shawl fluttering like a raven's wing. You watch her go, her figure shrinking against the hills, and feel the village's weight, its eyes and ears, its gods and laws. Marcus looks up, the bronze coin glinting in his hand, and you wonder what he'll think of you if you speak, if you betray, if you fall. You return to the barley, the sickle heavy, the field endless. The sun climbs your shadow, stretching, and you feel the coin's edges through your tunic, a reminder of Janus, of doors and choices. Gaius's grove is silent now, but you know he's there, his amulet gleaming, his rituals a thread you can't untangle. Claudia's face, fierce and desperate, haunts you, a woman who might be your ally or your ruin. Amelia's words linger, a threat wrapped in concern, and you know she'll be back, or someone will demanding answers you don't have. The day wears on, the barley falling, the field yielding less than you need. Marcus hums a tune, innocent and off-key, and you hold on to it, a fragile anchor in a world that's slipping. You think of Livia kneading dough at home, her hands steady where yours shake. You think of Rome, its legions marching, its taxes bleeding you dry. The Southfield's curse feels real now, not Gaius's fancy, but a truth in the earth, in the village, in you. Do you speak and save your family at the cost of your soul? Or do you stay silent and risk them all for a secret you don't understand? The coin burns, Janus watches, and you cut another stalk, knowing each swing brings you closer to a choice that will break you one way or another. The midday heat presses down like a forge's bellows, the air shimmering over your farm's fields, thick with the scent of dry grass and sun-baked clay. You're in the olive grove, not Gaius's, but your own, checking the trees for signs of blight, your fingers brushing rough bark and dusty leaves. The Southfield's failure gnaws at you, its meager barley harvest, barely enough to fill a sack, let alone appease the tax collector. Amelia's warning from yesterday, "Speak for your family's sake," hangs heavy, her Janus coin still in your pocket, its two faces a constant prod at your indecision. You didn't sleep last night, the image of Gaius's poppet and Claudia's fierce eyes burning behind your lids, their ritual a secret you're both guarding and dreading. Livia noticed your silence at dawn, her brow furrowing, but she said nothing, and that silence between you is a crack widening with each unspoken truth. You pause under a gnarled tree, its branches heavy with unripe olives, and wipe sweat from your neck. The grove is quiet save for the drone of cicadas and the occasional bleat of a goat in the distance. Marcus is with Livia helping her mend a fence, and you're grateful for the solitude, though it leaves too much room for thought. The coin's weight is a reminder of Amelia's power, her ability to sway the village elders, to turn whispers into accusations. You could go to her now, name Gaius and Claudia, and wash your hands of their grove's shadows. But the poppet's thorns prick your conscience, and you wonder if betraying them would curse you more surely than any ritual. A rustle breaks your thoughts, and you turn your heart lurching. A figure emerges from the trees, not Amelia, not Gaius, but Lucius, the village's miller, a broad man with a face red from sun and wine. His tunic is stained with flour, his hands thick from grinding grain, and he carries a sack slung over his shoulder, its contents clinking softly. Lucius is no friend, but no enemy either. He's a man who trades gossip as freely as grain, his mill a hub of village talk. Hot day for grove walking. He says his grin too wide, his eyes too sharp. You nod, forcing calm, though your fingers tighten around the olive branch. Just checking the trees, you say, but your voice is tight, and Lucius's grin widens as if he smells your unease. He drops the sack, the clink louder now. Amphora, you guess wine or oil, he's bartering on the sly. Heard you had a bad crop, he says, leaning against a tree, his bulk casting a shadow over you. Southfield right. Tough luck. His tone is casual, but there's a hook in it, a fisherman's lure waiting to snag. You shrug, keeping your eyes on the olives, though you feel his gaze heavy as the heat. Heard other things too, he adds, his voice lower now, conspiratorial. About Gaius. About things in his grove. Your blood chills though the sun burns. Amelia's warning now, Lucius's probing, the village is closing in its web tightening. You force a laugh, brittle as dry twigs. Gaius is all talk, you say, but the lie tastes like dust. Lucius steps closer, his breath sour with wine. Talk can be dangerous, he says. Elders are sniffing around, and the priests are itching for a sacrifice. Someone's got to answer for the bad harvests. His words are a blade, and you feel the cut. The village blames the gods for failed crops, but the gods need culprits, and Gaius's rituals make him an easy target. Claudia too, with her herbs and bones. And you, if they knew what you saw, what you didn't report. The moral conflict is a vice squeezing your chest. Do you point to Gaius, let him take the fall and save your family from suspicion? Or do you hold your tongue, risking the village's wrath, the priest's judgment, your own ruin? Lucius pulls a small object from his tunic, a wax tablet, its surface scratched with crude symbols, a sun and a sickle, the marks of Ceres, goddess of the harvest. He holds it up, not offering it, just showing a talisman of the village's faith. Got this from the temple, he says. Keeps the mill blessed. You got one for your fields. The tablet is a symbol, a badge of loyalty to Rome's gods, a shield against accusations of impiety. You have no such tablet, only the Janus coin. Its two faces a secret you can't share. Lucius's question is a trap, and you know it. If you admit you don't, you're suspect. If you lie, he'll sense it, and his tongue will wag. I manage, you say, turning back to the olives, hoping he'll leave. He doesn't. He steps closer, the amphorae clinking as he shifts the sack. Managing's not enough these days, he says. Village is scared. Crops failing, taxes rising, gods angry. Someone's got to pay. His eyes bore into you, and you realize he's not just fishing, he's hunting, looking for a name to trade for favor, for safety. You think of modern life, of office politics and snitches where a whispered rumor could cost a job. Here it costs lives, and Lucius is playing the game, his tablet a shield, his words a spear. You move to another tree, your hands shaking as you check the leaves, but Lucius follows, relentless. Gaius was at my mill yesterday, he says, casual but pointed. Bought flour, talked strange. Said the earth needs blood to heal. You hear him say things like that, your pulse races. Gaius's words, his ritual, his poppet, they're leaking, spreading through the village like rot. You saw it hit it, and now Lucius is circling his sack, a bribe, his tablet a threat. Do you deny knowing anything? Keep your secret and pray he moves on, or do you give him something, a half-truth, to keep him at bay? Each choice is a step toward a cliff, and you feel the ground crumbling. I don't listen to Gaius, you say, your voice steady, despite the fear clawing your gut. He's old, talks nonsense. Lucius chuckles, but it's humorless, a predator's laugh. Nonsense can get you killed, he says, hefting the sack. Think on it. Elders pay well for truth. He turns his boots, crunching the earth, and walks away, the amphorae's clink fading into the cicada's drone. You're alone again, the olives unyielding, the sun merciless. The wax tablet's image lingers, Ceres's son, and sickle, a reminder of the village's hunger for order, for sacrifice. You touch the Janus coin, its face is cold, and feel Janus watching, his dual gaze judging your silence, your fear. You finish checking the grove, finding no blight, but no hope either. The olives are small, the yield thin. You head back to the house, the coin, a weight, Lucius's words, a chain. Livia is in the yard, pounding laundry with a stone, her hands red from the work. Marcus plays nearby, tossing pebbles, his laughter a fleeting balm. You want to tell Livia everything, Gaius, Claudia, Aemilia, Lucius, but her eyes are tired, her faith in you fragile. The truth would break her, or push her to demand you act, to betray or flee. You think of the south field, its curse a mirror to your own, and wonder if the gods are punishing you, or if Rome itself is the curse, its hunger devouring you, bit by bit. The day drags on, the heat fading to a sticky dusk. You eat with Livia and Marcus, the barley bread tough, the stew thin. Livia talks of the market, of prices rising, but you barely hear her, your mind on Lucius's tablet, on Gaius's poppet, on Aemilia's coin. The village is a trap, its gods and elders waiting for you to stumble. Do you betray Gaius, save your family, and live with the stain, or do you stay silent? Risk everything and hope the gods, old or new, show mercy. The coin burns in your pocket. Janus's faces, a question you can't answer. You clear the table, the night closing in, and hear a distant hum like a chant, though it might be the wind. The grove waits, the village watches, and you know the choice is coming, sharp as a sickle, to rob. The night is a restless beast, clawing at your small farmhouse as you lie beside Livia, her breathing soft but uneven, a reminder of the secrets you're keeping. The air is heavy with the scent of straw and cooling embers, the hearth's faint glow casting shadows that twist like accusations. Lucius's words from the olive grove. Someone's got to pay, coil in your gut, his wax tablet, with Sirius's sun and sickle, a stark contrast to the Janus coin still hidden in your tunic. Aemilia's warning. Gaius's poppet, Claudia's fierce eyes. They're a chorus in your mind, drowning out the crickets outside. You didn't tell Livia about Lucius, just as you didn't tell her about the grove's ritual or Aemilia's veiled threat. Each silence is a stone building a wall between you, and you wonder how long it can stand before it crumbles. You rise before dawn, the floor cold under your feet, and slip outside the sky, a deep indigo pricked with fading stars. The south field waits its barren patches, a wound you can't heal, and you head there not to work, but to think, to escape the house's suffocating quiet. The air smells of dew and earth, a faint tang of goat dung carried on the breeze. Your boots sink into the soft ground, each step a reminder of the land's resistance, its curse, or Gaius's curse if you believe him. The Janus coin is in your hand now, its two faces glinting in the starlight, a symbol of thresholds you're too afraid to cross. You've been carrying it since Aemilia gave it to Marcus, a secret you couldn't share. And its weight is a question: betray Gaius and Claudia, or protect them and risk your family. A sound breaks the stillness, a low, guttural moan, not human, but animal, coming from the field's edge. You freeze, the coin slipping back into your pocket, your hand reaching for the knife at your belt. The moan comes again, pained and desperate, and you move toward it, your heart thudding. In the dim light, you see one of your goats, its leg caught in a tangle of roots, its eyes wild with panic. Blood stains its flank, not deep, but enough to draw flies, their buzz, a harsh counterpoint to the dawn's quiet. You kneel, soothing the animal with a murmur, and work to free its leg, the roots tough and unyielding, like the land itself. The goat's fear mirrors your own, trapped in a village that's turning on itself, its gods and elders hungry for someone to blame. As you cut the roots with your knife, a shadow moves at the field's edge, and you look up, your breath catching. It's not Lucius or Amelia, but a boy, no older than Marcus, his face pale and smudged with dirt. You recognize him, Titus, the son of a neighboring farmer known for running messages and stealing apples. He's clutching a small bundle wrapped in cloth, and his eyes dart like a cornered animal's. "What are you doing here?" You ask, your voice sharper than you mean, the goat still trembling under your hands. Titus hesitates, then steps closer, his bundle held tight. "Claudia sent me," he whispers, "and your blood runs cold." Claudia, the widow from Gaius's ritual, her name a spark in the village's tinder. You free the goat, its leg bloodied but unbroken, and stand wiping your hands on your tunic. "What does she want?" you ask, keeping your voice low, though. The field feels too open, too exposed. Titus glances around, then unwraps the bundle, revealing a small clay vial stoppered with wax, its surface etched with a crescent moon. "She said to give you this," he says. "Said it'll help the land, but you can't tell anyone." The vial is small, no bigger than your thumb, but it feels heavy when he presses it into your hand. Its clay cool and smooth. The crescent moon is a symbol older than Ceres' sickle, tied to the goddesses of the night, to rituals Rome has tried to erase. You know what this is, a charm, a potion, something forbidden, something that could save your fields or damn you. The moral conflict is a fire now licking at your resolve. Do you take the vial, use whatever magic Claudia offers, and risk the priest's wrath, the village's judgment? Or do you refuse, send Titus away, and cling to the life you know, barren fields and all? Accepting the vial means stepping deeper into Gaius's world, into Claudia's, where the line between farmer and heretic blurs. Refusing means facing the tax collector empty-handed, watching Livia and Marcus go hungry, losing the farm to Rome's endless hunger. You think of modern life, of clicking accept on terms you don't read, knowing the cost, but hoping it won't come due. Here the cost is real chains, exile, or worse. Titus shifts, nervous, his eyes on the horizon, where the sun is beginning to rise. "She said to pour it at dusk," he says, "where the field's worst. Said the earth'll drink it." His words are a hook, pulling you toward a choice you're not ready to make. You want to ask what's in the vial, what it does, but Titus is already backing away, his bundle empty. "Don't tell," he says, then bolts, vanishing into the barley like a ghost. You're alone with the goat, the vial, the field, and the coin. Janus's face is judging you from your pocket. The goat limps free, bleeding softly, and you envy its simplicity, its freedom from the village's web. You tuck the vial into your tunic next to the coin and head back to the house, the dawn light spreading like a stain. Livia is awake, kneading dough, her hands dusted with flour, her eyes tired but warm. Marcus sleeps in the corner, his small chest rising and falling, the Janus coin's twin in his dreams. You want to show Livia the vial to share the burden, but her faith in Rome's gods in you stops you. She'd call it madness or danger, and she'd be right. The vial's crescent moon burns against your skin, a secret you can't unlearn, a choice you can't unmake. The day unfolds, relentless and hot. You work the south field, cutting the last of the barley, its stalks, thin and brittle. Livia brings water, her touch a fleeting comfort, and Marcus trails you, his chatter a shield against your thoughts. But the vial is a weight, its crescent moon, a whisper of the grove of Claudia's desperation, of Gaius's defiance. You think of Amelia, her cane tapping her warning clear. You think of Lucius, his tablet, a badge of loyalty you don't share. The village is a crucible heating with each failed crop, each whispered rumor, and you're in its center, holding a vial that could save you or burn you. Dusk comes, the sky bleeding red, the field quiet save for the wind's low moan. You stand at its worst patch where nothing grows, the earth cracked like old skin. The vial is in your hand, its wax seal soft from the day's heat. You could pour it, let the earth drink, and pray Claudia's magic works. Or you could bury it, pretend Titus never came, and face the tax collector's wrath. The crescent moon glints, a symbol of a world Rome fears, a world you're beginning to understand. You think of the poppet, its thorns a warning, and the coin, its faces a choice. The village sleeps, but its eyes are everywhere, and you feel them waiting for you to act, to choose to fall. You uncork the vial, the scent sharp herbs, blood, something bitter, and hesitate, your hand trembling. The earth waits, the field silent, the gods old and new watching. Do you pour and bind yourself to Claudia's path, to Gaius's shadows? Or do you walk away, clinging to a life that's slipping through your fingers? The vial's liquid catches the dying light, dark as wine, dark as fate, and you feel the world tilt, the choice a threshold you can't avoid. Jonas's coin burns, the goat's bleat echoes, and you stand at the field's heart, knowing whatever you do, the village will never be the same. The vial's dark liquid pools in the cracked earth of the south field, its sharp, bitter scent, herbs, blood, and something acrid, rising like a ghost in the dusk's fading light. You stand frozen, the empty clay vessel in your hand, its crescent moon etching warm against your palm. The field is silent, the wind stilled, as if the land itself is holding its breath, drinking Claudia's offering. You've crossed a line, poured her forbidden charm into the soil, and the weight of it settles in your chest, heavy as the Jonas coin still tucked in your tunic. The village sleeps beyond the hills, its crosses and altars unaware, but you feel eyes, gods, spirits, or your own guilt watching from the shadows. You've chosen, and there's no undoing it now. You bury the vial under a loose clod of earth, your fingers trembling as they pat the soil smooth. The crescent moon is hidden, but its power lingers, a pulse in the ground, a hum in your blood. You think of Gaius's poppet, its thorns pricking the night, and Amelia's warning, her cane a metronome of judgment. Lucius's sly grin and his Ceres tablet haunt you, a reminder of the village's hunger for loyalty, for someone to blame. You've defied them all, stepping into Claudia's world. And the south field feels different now, not alive, not yet, but awake as if it knows what you've done. You return to the house, the stars emerging like accusations in the deepening sky. Livia is by the hearth, mending a torn tunic, her needle flashing in the firelight. Marcus sleeps in the corner, his small body curled under a blanket, the Janus coin you gave him, glinting on a string around his neck. Livia looks up, her eyes searching yours, and you force a smile, though it feels like a grimace. Long day, you say, your voice rough, and she nods, but her hands pause, the needle still. She senses something, you're sure of it. But you can't tell her about the vial, the field, the choice that's changed you. The truth would shatter her faith in Rome and you, and you're not ready to lose her, not when Marcus's future hangs by a thread. You sit the hearth's warmth, doing little to ease the chill in your bones. The stew is thin barley and herbs stretched to feed three, and you eat in silence, the crackle of the fire too loud in the quiet. You think of modern life, of scraping by on instant noodles and hoping the bills don't come due. Here the bills are taxes, the collector's shadow looming, and the vial was your gamble, your prayer for a harvest to keep Rome at bay. But prayers have prices, and you feel Claudia's crescent moon, its forbidden curve, a chain binding you to a world you don't fully understand. A knock at the door startles you, the spoon clattering against your bowl. Livia frowns, rising, but you motion her back, your heart racing. It's late for visitors, too late for neighbors or traders. You think of Lucius, his amphore clinking, or Amelia, her cane tapping out your doom. The knock comes again, softer but insistent, and you open the door a crack, the night air cold against your face. Standing there is a woman, her face half hidden by a hood, her hands clutching a basket of herbs. It's Claudia herself, her eyes fierce as they were in Gaius's grove, her presence a jolt like lightning in a clear sky. "You used it," she says. Not a question, her voice low and steady. You nod, unable to speak, and she steps inside uninvited, her basket brushing your arm. The herbs smell sharp, rosemary, thyme, something bitter, and you catch a glimpse of bones, small and white, nestled among the leaves. Livia stiffens, her needle frozen, and you feel the room shrink, the hearth's glow too frail to hold back the dark. "Who's this?" Livia asks, her voice sharp, and you hesitate, the lie you've rehearsed crumbling under Claudia's gaze. "A friend." You say the word clumsy, and Claudia's lips twitch, not quite a smile. "We need to talk," she says, ignoring Livia, her eyes on you. You gesture to a chair, your mind racing. Claudia's here in your home, a woman the village calls a hag, a healer, a heretic. Her presence is a risk, a spark in a house of straw, and you feel Livia's eyes, her trust fraying with each breath. Claudia sits her basket on the table and pulls out a small stone, smooth and black, carved with a spiral. It's not the crescent moon, but its kin, another symbol of the old ways of gods Rome has buried but not killed. "The earth accepted your offering," she says, her voice a whisper, "but it wants more." You swallow, the vial's bitter taste rising in your throat. "More, you ask?" And Claudia nods, her fingers tracing the spiral. "The land's awake now," she says. "It'll give, but only if you honor it. Blood, not just herbs. A life for a life." Her words are a blade, cold and sharp, and you feel Livia's gasp, though she says nothing. Blood. You think of Gaius's ritual, the poppet's thorns, the jug's dark liquid. You thought the vial was enough, a simple charm, but Claudia's spiral stone demands more, a sacrifice. A goat, a lamb, or something worse. The moral conflict is a storm tearing at you. Do you follow Claudia, offer blood to the earth, and risk becoming what the village fears, a heretic, a witch in all but name? Or do you refuse, turn her away, and pray the vial's magic holds, though you know it won't? Livia stands, her needle clattering to the floor. "What is this?" she demands, her voice trembling, not with fear, but anger. "What have you done?" You want to explain, to make her see, but Claudia speaks first, her eyes never leaving you. "He's trying to save you," she says, and Livia laughs, a bitter sound. "Save us by bringing this into our home." She points to the spiral stone, its curves a silent rebellion against her gods, against Ceres, and Jupiter against Rome. You feel the Janus coin, its faces judging, and know this is the threshold, the moment you lose her or lose yourself. Claudia leans forward, her voice soft but unyielding. "The village is dying," she says, The fields, the people, the gods, they're all starving. Rome takes but gives nothing back. The old ways can change that, but you have to choose. Her words are a lure pulling you toward a path where the south field blooms, where Marcus grows strong, where Livia smiles again. But the price is blood, a sacrifice that could damn you in the eyes of the village, the priests, the gods you've prayed to all your life. You think of Amelia, her cane a gavel, and Lucius, his tablet, a shield. You think of Gaius, his wolf amulet, a defiance you're not sure you share. Livia grabs your arm, her fingers digging in. Tell her to leave, she says, her voice breaking. Now. But you can't, not yet. Claudia's spiral stone sits on the table, a challenge, a promise. To send her away is to reject the field's awakening, to face the tax collector with empty hands, to watch your family starve. To follow her is to step into the grove's shadows, to offer blood and bind yourself to a world Rome will punish with chains or fire. You think of modern life, of signing a contract without reading the fine print, knowing it's a trap, but hoping it's not. Here the trap is real and Claudia's eyes are waiting, fierce and unyielding. You pick up the spiral stone, its weight surprising its surface, warm as the vial was. What kind of blood, you ask, your voice barely audible. Claudia's lips curve a smile or a grimace. The earth decides, she says. A goat, a bird, maybe more. You'll know when the time comes. Livia pulls away, her face pale, and you feel the crack between you widen, a chasm you can't bridge. Claudia rises, her basket rustling, and heads for the door. Dusk tomorrow, she says. The field will show you. She's gone, the night swallowing her, and you're left with Livia's silence, Marcus's sleeping breath, and the spiral stone, its curves a map to a choice that's already claiming you. The dawn is a reluctant guest, creeping over your farm with a pale, watery light that does little to warm the chill in your bones. You're in the south field again, your boots sinking into the soil where you poured Claudia's vial last night, the earth still damp and faintly scented with its bitter tang. The spiral stone sits heavy in your pocket, its curves a constant reminder of her words. Blood, a life for a life, and the choice you've yet to fully make. Livia's anger, her demand to send Claudia away, burns in your memory, her silence at breakfast sharper than any blade. Marcus, oblivious, played with the Janus coin, its two faces glinting as he laughed. But you saw the fear in Livia's eyes, the crack in her trust. You're a farmer, not a priest or a rebel, but the field's awakening. Claudia's spiral and Gaius's unseen rituals are pulling you into a world where those lines blur. You kneel, inspecting the soil, hoping for a sign that the vial worked to sprout, a softening of the clay. But the earth looks the same, cracked and unyielding. The air smells of dew and barley stubble, with a faint whiff of smoke from the village where hearths are stirring. You think of Amelia's warning, Lucius's probing the village's hunger for a scapegoat. Claudia's visit to your home was a risk, her spiral stone a brand, and you wonder if someone saw her, if whispers are already spreading. The Janus coin nestled beside the stone feels like a judge, its dual faces weighing your every step. A rustle in the barley makes you tense, your hand dropping to the knife at your belt. It's not Claudia or Lucius, but Marcus, his small figure emerging from the stalks, his tunic smeared with dirt. "Why are you out here so early?" he asks, his voice bright but curious, his eyes too sharp for a boy his age. You force a smile, ruffling his hair. "Checking the field," you say, but the lie feels thin. And Marcus tilts his head, the Janus coin swinging at his neck. Is it sick? He asks, pointing to the barren patch. Gaius says the land gets sick sometimes, like goats. Your heart lurches. Gaius again, his name a shadow that follows you, his wolf amulet, a symbol you can't escape. You stand brushing dirt from your hands and guide Marcus back toward the house. Gaius talks too much, you say, but your voice is tight, and Marcus's question lingers innocent, but piercing. He's heard Gaius's stories, maybe seen his grove, and you wonder how much he knows, how much he'll carry as he grows. The village is a crucible, its heat forging children into spies or rebels, and you want to shield Marcus, to keep him from the choices that are breaking you. But the spiral stone burns in your pocket. Claudia's words. Dusk tomorrow, the field will show you. A drumbeat in your mind, and you know shielding him might be impossible. Livia is in the yard feeding the goats, her movements sharp, her face closed. She barely looks at you, her hands busy with the grain, and the silence between you is a wound festering. You want to tell her about the spiral stone the blood Claudia demands, but her anger stops you, her faith in Rome's gods, a wall you can't climb. You think of the south field, its promise of life, if you pay the price and wonder if Livia would understand, or if she'd see you as a stranger, a man who's traded Ceres for shadows. The moral conflict is a noose tightening with each step. Do you follow Claudia's path, offer blood to the earth, and risk losing Livia, Marcus, everything? Or do you reject her, cling to the village's rules, and watch your farm die under Rome's taxes? You're about to speak to try bridging the gap when a shout cuts through the morning. It's not Livia, not Marcus, but a voice from the lane, rough and urgent. You turn, your heart racing, and see Titus, the boy who brought Claudia's vial, sprinting toward you, his face pale, his breath ragged. They're coming, he gasps, skidding to a stop, his hands clutching his sides. The elders, the priests there at Gaius's. Your blood runs cold, the spiral stone afire in your pocket. Gaius, his poppet, his wolf amulet. The village has found him, or someone has spoken, and now the crucible is boiling over. Livia drops the grain, her eyes wide, and Marcus clings to her, the Janus coin glinting. What's happening? She demands. But you're already moving, grabbing Titus's arm. Who told you? Ask your voice low, though you fear the answer. Titus shakes his head, his eyes darting to the hills. Don't know. They found something in his grove. Bones, blood. They're saying he's cursed the land. The words are a punch, and you think of Lucius, his sly grin, or Amelia, her cane tapping out judgment. You think of yourself, silent, complicit, pouring Claudia's vial into the same earth they're now condemning. You release Titus, who bolts back toward the village, and turn to Livia. Stay here, you say, but her eyes are hard, her voice sharper. What have you done? She asks again, and you feel the crack between you widen, a chasm you can't cross. You don't answer, running toward Gaius's farm, the spiral stone and Janus coin jostling in your pocket. Their weight a reminder of every choice you've made. The lane is alive with voices, now shouts and murmurs, the village waking to its own hunger for justice. You smell smoke sharper than hearth fires and see a plume rising from Gaius's grove, dark and ominous. When you reach his land, a crowd is gathered. Farmers, traders, women with baskets, children clutching their mothers' skirts. The elders stand at the center, their togas stark against the olive trees, flanked by two priests in white robes, their faces grim. Gaius is there, his hands bound with rope, his wolf amulet torn from his neck and lying in the dirt. His face is bruised, his eyes defiant, but there's a weariness in him, as if he knew this day was coming. The priests hold up the bundle bones, feathers, a clay figure pricked with thorns, its surface stained with blood. The poppet. You realize your stomach twisting. The crowd gasps, some shouting curses, others praying their fear a living thing. One of the elders, a gaunt man named Quintus, steps forward, his voice carrying over the noise. Gaius has defiled the gods, he declares, holding the poppet high. His rites have cursed our fields, our harvests, our children. The crowd roars, and you shrink back, half hidden behind a farmer, your heart pounding. You think of Claudia, her spiral stone, her vial in your field. If they found Gaius, they could find her, find you. The moral conflict is a blade now cutting deep. Do you speak, claim ignorance, and let Gaius burn alone? Or do you confess, admit you saw his ritual, poured the vial, and drag yourself and maybe Claudia into the fire with him? Quintus's eyes sweep the crowd, and you feel them linger as if he senses your guilt. The poppet is a symbol, a relic of the old ways. Its thorns a defiance of Rome's gods. You think of the spiral stone, its curves a cousin to the poppet's magic, and wonder if it's marked you, if the field's awakening will betray you. Gaius meets your gaze just for a moment, and there's no anger in his eyes, only a strange calm, as if he's accepted his fate. You want to look away, but you can't. His wolf amulet glinting in the dirt, a reminder of the world you've stepped into. The priests begin a chant invoking Ceres, Jupiter, the gods who demand order, and the crowd joins their voices, a tide pulling Gaius under. You think of Livia waiting at home, her trust fraying, and Marcus, his innocence, a light you're desperate to protect. You think of the south field, its soil drinking Claudia's charm, and wonder if it was worth it, if blood will save you or damn you. The choice is a threshold. Janus's faces watching betray. Gaius, save your family and live with the stain, or stay silent, risk everything, and pray the gods, old or new, show mercy. The smoke thickens, the priest's chant rising, and you feel the village's heat, its hunger for a sacrifice. Gaius is pulled toward a cart, his hands bound, his grove burning behind him. You could step forward, speak, end this, but your feet are rooted, the spiral stone, a fire in your pocket. The crowd surges, the elder's eyes sharp, and you know this isn't the end, only a beginning. The field waits, the vial's magic stirring, and you're a farmer caught in a web of gods and men, with a choice that will break you one way or another. The smoke from Gaius's burning grove lingers in the air, a bitter haze that clings to your tunic. As you stumble back to your farm, the spiral stone and Janus coin heavy in your pocket. The village's roar, its chants, its curses echoes in your ears, Gaius's bruised face and bound hands seared into your mind. The priest's condemnation, the poppet's thorns glinting in the sun, and the elder's cold judgment have shaken you, a reminder of Rome's unforgiving hunger for order. You didn't speak, didn't betray him, but your silence feels like a betrayal of Livia, of Marcus, of the life you're fighting to hold together. The south field, where you poured Claudia's vial, waits in silence, its soil a secret that could save or damn you. The morning is young, the sun barely cresting the hills, but the day feels old, heavy with choices you can't unmake. You reach the house, your boots caked with mud, and find Livia in the yard, her hands still, her eyes red-rimmed. Marcus is inside, his laughter absent, the Janus coin around his neck, a quiet accusation. What happened? Livia asks, her voice low, trembling with anger or fear or both. You want to lie, to say it was nothing but the smoke on your skin, the tremor in your hands betrays you. They took Gaius, you say the words, rough like stones in your throat. For his rituals, they burned his grove. Her face pales and she steps back as if you've brought the fire with you. And you, she asks, her eyes searching yours. What did you do? The question is a blade cutting through the fragile trust between you. You could tell her everything. Claudia's vial, the spiral stone, the blood she demands, but the words choke you. Livia's faith in Ceres and Rome's gods is a wall, and your secrets are a hammer cracking it with every silence. You think of the south field, its earth drinking Claudia's charm, and wonder if it's begun to change, if the vial's magic will yield a harvest or a curse. The moral conflict is a storm raging within you. Do you confess, risk Livia's rejection and face her judgment, or keep silent? Protect her from the truth and widen the chasm between you. I did nothing, you say, the lie bitter as the vial's dregs. Livia's lips tighten and she turns away, her hands resuming their work, scattering grain for the goats. The silence is worse than her anger, a void you can't fill. You head to the barn, needing movement, needing escape, and begin repairing a broken fence, the hammer's rhythm a frail anchor. The air smells of straw and sweat, the goats bleating softly, but your thoughts are on Gaius, his wolf amulet trampled in the dirt, and Claudia still free, but hunted. You wonder if she knows, if Titus carried the news, if the spiral stone in your pocket is a beacon for the priest's wrath. A shadow falls across the barn door, and you tense the hammer, pausing mid-swing. It's not Livia, not Marcus, but Quintus, the gaunt elder, who condemned Gaius, his toga pristine despite the morning's chaos. His eyes are sharp like a hawk's, and he carries a staff, its tip carved with a laurel leaf, a symbol of Rome's authority, of victory over chaos. You've seen him in the village, his voice commanding respect, his judgments final. His presence here in your barn is a stone dropped into still water, its ripples spreading fear. A word, he says, his voice smooth but cold, and you lower the hammer, your heart pounding. You step outside, the sun harsh, the air thick with the grove's distant smoke. Quintus leans on his staff, studying you, and you feel stripped, as if he can see the spiral stone, the vial's memory, the lie you told Livia. Troubling times, he says, his tone conversational, but laced with intent. Gaius's blasphemy has shaken the village. The gods are angry, the fields barren. You've felt it, haven't you? You nod, cautious, your hands clenching at your sides. The Southfield's failure is no secret, but Quintus's words are a net cast to catch something more. He steps closer, his staff tapping the earth, the laurel leaf glinting. The priests are searching, he says. They found relics in Gaius's grove, bones, charms, things that defy Rome. They believe he had allies. His eyes lock onto yours, and you feel the weight of Emilia's warning. Lucius is probing the village's eyes. You're a good man, Quintus continues, a farmer loyal to your family. If you know anything, anyone who shared Gaius's ways, it would be wise to speak. The gods reward truth. His words are a lure promising safety, but you hear the threat beneath the promise of chains if you falter. The moral conflict is a fire burning through your resolve. Do you name Claudia, point to her hut, her herbs, her spiral stone, and buy mercy for your family? Or do you stay silent? Protect her and risk the priest's scrutiny, the village's wrath. Betraying Claudia would sever your tie to the vial's magic, to the Southfield's faint hope. But it might shield Livia and Marcus from suspicion. Silence keeps you bound to her to the earth's awakening, but it paints a target on your back, on your home. You think of modern life, of turning in a coworker to save your job, knowing the cost, but doing it anyway. Here the cost is blood, and Quintus's staff is a reminder that Rome doesn't forgive. You shift the spiral stone warm against your thigh, the Janus coin a cold counterpoint. I know nothing. You say, your voice steady, despite the fear clawing your gut. Gaius kept to himself. Quintus's lips twitch, not a smile but a calculation, and he nods as if filing your words away. Very well, he says, but the priests are thorough. They'll come and they'll ask again. He turns his toga, sweeping the dust, and walks away, his staff's tap, a heartbeat fading into the village's hum. You're alone, the barn's shadows closing in the goat's bleats, a frail distraction. You return to the fence, the hammer heavy, but your hands shake, the work futile. The south field calls it soil, a secret you can't share, and you wonder if Claudia's blood price will save it, or if you've poured your hope into a grave. You think of Gaius, his calm defiance as they bound him, and wonder if he knew you were there, if he trusted your silence. You think of Livia, her anger a wall, and Marcus, his innocence a light you're failing to protect. The laurel leaf on Quintus's staff lingers, a symbol of Rome's triumph, its demand for order over the old ways, over the spiral's curves, and the vial's dark promise. The day grinds on the sun, climbing your shadow, shrinking. You move to the south field, unable to stay away, and kneel where you poured the vial, the earth softer now, almost yielding. A single green shoot, fragile as a whisper, pushes through the clay, and your breath catches. Is it the vial, Claudia's magic, or just chance you touch it? Its texture delicate, and feel a spark of hope, but it's tempered by fear. Quintus's visit, the priest's search, Livia's silence. The shoot is a sign, but of what life, or a trap luring you deeper into Claudia's world. You hear footsteps, light but deliberate, and turn, expecting Livia or Marcus. It's neither. Amelia stands at the field's edge, her cane planted, her gray braids stark against the sun. Her eyes, sharp as ever, take in the shoot, the field, and you feel exposed, as if she knows the vial, the stone, the choice you made. You've been busy, she says, her voice dry, and you realize she's not here to comfort, but to judge. The spiral stone burns, the Janus coin weighs, and you know the village's web is tightening, its gods and elders closing in. You're a farmer, not a heretic, but the south field's shoot. Amelia's gaze and Claudia's blood price are making you something else, something you can't yet name. You stand brushing dirt from your hands and face Amelia, her cane, a challenge, her presence a reckoning. The shoot trembles in the breeze, the village hums beyond the hills, and you feel the choice pressing in. Confess to her, to Quintus, to the priests, and beg for mercy, or hold fast to Claudia's path, to the earth's faint promise, and risk everything. The laurel leaf, the spiral stone, the Janus coin, they're your anchors, your chains, and you know, as Amelia's eyes bore into you, that the next step will break you one way or another. The Southfield's single green shoot trembles under Amelia's gaze, its fragile promise dwarfed by her presence, her cane planted like a sentinel in the earth. The morning sun is climbing, its heat already prickling your skin, but the air feels heavy, laced with the faint smoke of Gaius's burned grove, and the sharper scent of your own fear, sweat dust, and the memory of Claudia's vial. The spiral stone and Janus coin weigh in your pocket, twin burdens that mark you as both farmer and fugitive, caught in a village that's turning on itself. Amelia's eyes, sharp as flint, see too much. The shoot, the field, the guilt you can't hide, and her voice dry as the clay beneath you cuts through the silence. A miracle this, she says, nodding at the chute, but there's no warmth in it, only a challenge, a hook baited with suspicion. You stand brushing dirt from your hands and force your voice to stay steady. Just luck, you say, but the word tastes like ash, and Amelia's lips twitch, a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Luck is a rare guest in these fields, she says, her cane tapping the ground, each strike a pulse in the tense air. You think of Livia, her anger a wall you can't scale, and Marcus, his innocence fraying under the village's growing fear. You think of Gaius bound and condemned, his wolf amulet trampled, and Claudia still free but hunted her spiral stone, a secret burning against your thigh. Quintus's visit yesterday, his laurel-carved staff, a symbol of Rome's unyielding order, looms in your memory, his warning clear. The priests are thorough. Amelia is here now, another judge, and you feel the village's web tightening its threads spun from whispers and accusations. She steps closer, her shawl fluttering, and you catch a glint at her wrist. A bronze bangle etched with a sheaf of wheat, a nod to Ceres, the goddess, whose favor your fields desperately need. The bangle is a symbol, a badge of piety that aligns her with the priests, the elders, the Rome that demands your loyalty. You have no such talisman, only the spiral stone and Janus coin relics of a world the village would burn you for holding. The priests are coming, Amelia says, her voice low, meant for you alone. They'll search every farm, every field. They found Gaius's blasphemies, and they'll find more. You do well to be clean when they arrive. Her words are a blade, cold and precise, and you feel them at your throat. You want to protest, to claim innocence, but the spiral stone's warmth is a confession. The Southfields shoot a silent witness to Claudia's vial. The moral conflict is a crucible, melting your resolve. Do you confess to? Amelia, admit the vial, the stone, and beg for mercy, hoping she'll shield you from the priests. Or do you lie, cling to silence, and risk her suspicion, knowing one wrong word could bring the elders to your door? Confession might spare Livia and Marcus, but it would mark you as Gaius's ally, a heretic in the village's eyes. Silence keeps you hidden, but only for so long. The priests are coming, and the shoot, fragile as it is, could betray you, its growth too sudden, too strange for a cursed field. You shift your boots, sinking deeper into the soil, and glance at the shoot, its green, a faint hope against the clay's cracks. I've done nothing wrong, you say, but your voice is thin, and Amelia's eyes narrow, as if she can hear the spiral stone's hum, the vial's bitter echo. Nothing wrong is a weak defense, she says, her cane tapping closer. The village is scared, the gods angry. Someone must answer for the barren fields, and it won't be me. Her words are a mirror reflecting Lucius's sly threats, Quintus's veiled demands. The village is a beast hungry for a sacrifice, and you're in its jaws, the spiral stone, a brand that could ignite you. Amelia turns her bangle, catching the sun, and gestures to the field. This land's always been trouble, she says. Your father fought it too, and lost. You're stubborn like him, but stubbornness won't feed your boy. Her mention of Marcus is a twist of the blade, and you feel it, the fear for him, for Livia, for the life you're losing. You want to tell her about the vial, to explain the shoot, to prove you're fighting for them. But the spiral stone stops you. Its warmth a vow you made to Claudia, to the earth itself. Amelia's bangle gleams, Ceres's wheat a stark contrast to the stone's old magic. And you realize she's not just warning you, she's offering a way out. A chance to align with Rome, to betray Claudia and save yourself. You open your mouth, the words trembling on your tongue, but a cry from the house stops you. It's Marcus, his voice high and panicked, calling your name. You turn, your heart lurching, and see him running across the yard, Livia behind him, her face pale. "The goats," Marcus shouts, his small hands waving. "They're sick." Amelia raises an eyebrow, her cane still, and you run, leaving her in the field, the chute forgotten. The goats are your lifeline. They're milk and meat, a buffer against starvation. And if they're sick, the tax collector's visit next week will be a death sentence. In the barn, the air is thick with the smell of dung and something sourer vomit decay. Two goats lie on the straw, their flanks heaving, their eyes glassy. Froth drips from their mouths, and the others bleat weakly, their legs unsteady. Livia kneels beside one, her hands gentle but shaking, and Marcus clings to her, the Janus coin swinging at his neck. "What's wrong with them?" she asks, her voice breaking, and you see the accusation in her eyes. The fear that this is your fault, the vial's curse, Claudia's magic turning against you. You touch the spiral stone, its warmth a mockery now, and wonder if she's right, if the earth's awakening demanded more than you gave. You think of Gaius's poppet, its thorns pricked with blood, and Claudia's words, "A life for a life." Did the vial's magic poison the goats, a price for the chute's growth? Or is this the village's fear, its gods striking back? Ceres' wrath for your defiance. The moral conflict is a noose tightening with each labored breath from the goats. Do you seek Claudia, demand answers, and risk exposing your alliance with her? Or do you turn to the priests, confess the vial, and beg their cleansing rituals, knowing it could cost you everything? Seeking Claudia binds you deeper to her shadows, her blood price, but it might save the goats, the farm, your family. Confessing to the priests aligns you with Rome, with Amelia's bangle, but it betrays Claudia Gaius and the chute's fragile hope. You kneel beside Livia, your hands useless, the goats suffering a mirror to your own. "I'll fix this," you say, but the words are hollow, and Livia's silence is a rebuke. Marcus sobs, his small hand clutching the Janus coin, its two faces a reminder of thresholds of choices that can't be undone. You think of modern life, of calling tech support for a broken system, knowing the fix is temporary, the cost steep. Here there's no support. Only the village, its priests, its gods, and Claudia waiting at dusk with a blood price you're not sure you can pay. You stand the barn's shadows closing in, and head for the house, needing a moment to think. Amelia is gone when you pass the field. The chute alone, it's green, a faint defiance against the clay. You pull the spiral stone from your pocket, its curves warm, and feel the earth's pulse, faint but real. The goat's sickness, the priest's search. Livia's fear, they're a storm. And you're at its center, holding a stone that could save or destroy you. You think of Gaius, his calm as they bound him, and wonder if he knew this moment would come if he chose it. You think of Claudia, her fierce eyes, her basket of bones, and know you'll see her at dusk, because the field, the goats, your family, they demand it. The day drags on, the sun relentless, the village humming with fear and fire. You work beside Livia, tending the goats, their condition worsening, their bleats fading. Marcus stays close, his coin glinting, his eyes too old for his years. The spiral stone is your anchor, the Janus coin your judge, and you feel the village's eyes. Amelia's bangle, Quintus's staff, all waiting for you to break. Dusk is coming, Claudia's blood price looming, And you know the choice: seek her or betray her will redefine you. A farmer caught in a war of gods and men, with a field that's waking and a family that's slipping away. The dusk is a wound bleeding red across the south field, where the single green shoot stands like a fragile prayer against the cracked clay. You're alone, the spiral stone clutched in your hand, its curves warm and pulsing Claudia's blood price. A life for a life, a drumbeat in your skull. The goat's sickness, their glassy eyes and frothing mouths haunts you, a curse you fear you've unleashed by pouring her vial into the earth. Livia's silence is a chasm, her trust shattered by your secrets. And Marcus's small hand clutching the Janus coin is a reminder of the innocence you're failing to protect. The village hums beyond the hills, its priests and elders closing in Amelia's bangle, and Quintus's laurel staff, symbols of a Rome that demands your soul. Gaius is gone, his grove ash, and Claudia waits, her fierce eyes calling you to this field, to a choice that will either save your farm or bury it. You kneel beside the chute, the earth softer now, almost alive, and feel the vial's bitter echo, the spiral stone's hum. The air is thick with the scent of cooling soil and distant smoke, the village's fear a tangible weight. You've avoided Claudia since her visit, her demand for blood too heavy, but the goat's sickness and the priest's search have left you no choice. The south field is waking the shoot-proof of her magic, but it's not enough, not for the taxes, not for Livia, not for Marcus. You need the land to yield to bloom, and Claudia's spiral stone is your only path. Though it leads through shadows, Rome will never forgive. A rustle breaks the stillness, and you stand, your knife drawn, the spiral stone tight in your fist. Claudia emerges from the barley, her hood cast back, her face fierce but worn, her basket of herbs and bones slung over her shoulder. Her eyes lock onto yours, and you see no surprise, only a grim certainty, as if she knew you'd be here waiting. You felt it, she says, her voice low, cutting through the dusk's quiet. The earth's hunger. You nod, the chute trembling at your feet. The goat's sickness, a weight in your chest. The goats are dying, you say, your voice rough. Is this your doing? She shakes her head, her lips tight. Not mine. The earth's. It gave you a sign, but it wants more. You know what it asks. You do. Blood. A life for a life. The spiral stone burns its curves, a map to a ritual you've seen in Gaius's grove, in the poppet's thorns, in Claudia's fierce defiance. You think of the goats, their suffering a mirror to your own, and wonder if their blood would be enough, or if the earth demands something greater. Your blood, your life, your soul. The moral conflict is a pyre consuming you. Do you offer the sacrifice, spill blood to save the field, and bind yourself to Claudia's old ways, knowing Rome will brand you a heretic, or do you reject her? Let the field die and face the priests, the taxes, the village's wrath, knowing survival is impossible either way. Claudia steps closer, her basket rustling, and pulls a small dagger from her shawl. Its blade etched with a crescent moon, a twin to the vial's symbol. The earth chooses, she says, holding it out, its metal catching the dying light. A goat, a lamb, or more. You'll know when you cut. Her words are a chain pulling you toward a threshold you can't avoid. You think of Livia, her anger a wall, and Marcus, his Janus coin, a fragile shield. You think of Gaius, his calm as they bound him, and Amelia, her bangle gleaming with Ceres' wheat. The village is a crucible, its gods and elders demanding order, but the south fields shoot. The spiral stone's pulse defy that order, offering life at a cost you're not sure you can pay. You take the dagger, its handle warm, and feel the world shift, the dusk deepening, the chute trembling. Where you ask, your voice barely audible. Claudia points to the field's heart, where the clay is softest, where the vial's liquid sank. There, she says, at the center. The earth will drink. You move your boots, sinking the dagger heavy, the spiral stone afire in your pocket. The field is silent, the village distant, but you feel its eyes. Quintus's staff, Amelia's bangle, Lucius's tablet, watching, judging. You kneel at the center, the chute a few paces away, and dig a small hollow, with the dagger, the earth yielding like flesh. Claudia kneels beside you, her hands steady, her basket open, revealing a small clay bowl and a bundle of herbs. Blood first, she says, then the offering. You hesitate, the dagger's blade cold against your palm. A goat's blood might suffice, but the goats are sick, their lives already fading. You think of Marcus, his laughter, and Livia, her hands calloused from work. Could you offer more? Your own blood? A cut to seal the pact? The thought is madness, but the field's promise, the chute's green, pulls you a lure you can't resist. You understand now why surviving here is impossible. Rome demands your body, the old ways, your soul, and the village, your silence, leaving nothing for you, for Livia, for Marcus. You slice your thumb, a shallow cut, and let the blood drip into the hollow, the earth drinking it with a faint hiss. Claudia nods, scattering herbs over the blood, their scent sharp and wild. She chants a low hum that seems to rise from the ground, and you feel the spiral stone pulse the field, awaken the chute, tremble. But it's not enough. The earth hungers, and you know with a sick certainty that your blood is too small, too human. Claudia's eyes meet yours, fierce and unyielding, and she gestures to the barn where the goats lie dying. One must go, she says, her voice soft but final. Now. You stand the dagger slick with your blood and move to the barn, Claudia following her chant, a shadow at your back. The goats are worse, their breaths shallow, their bodies trembling. You choose the weakest, a young one, its eyes clouded, and lift it, its weight light but crushing. You carry it to the field, Livia's absence a scream in your mind, and kneel again, the dagger raised. Claudia's chant grows louder, the spiral stone a heartbeat, the earth waiting. You cut swift and deep, the goat's blood pouring into the hollow, dark and thick, the herbs sizzling as they mix. The field shudders, a low moan rising, and you feel it, the earth's acceptance, the chute's strength, the promise of a harvest. But the cost is immediate. Shouts erupt from the lane torches, flickering the village awake. Quintus leads them, his laurel staff raised, priests at his side, their white robes stark against the dusk. Amelia is there, her bangle glinting, and Lucius, his tablet clutched like a shield. They've seen the smoke, heard the chant, found you at the field's heart. The goat's blood pooling, Claudia's herbs burning. Blasphemer Quintus roars, and the crowd surges, their fear, a tide pulling you under. Claudia stands, her dagger drawn, but you grab her arm, knowing resistance is futile. The priests seize you, their hands iron, and bind your wrists, the spiral stone torn from your pocket, the Janus coin trampled in the dirt. Livia runs from the house, Marcus at her side, her scream piercing the chaos. No, she cries, but the priests push her back, her eyes meeting yours, not with anger, but despair. You've lost her, not to Rome, but to your choice, your blood in the earth, you're packed with Claudia. The field's shoot stands tall, the earth alive, but it's too late. The village claims you its gods and elders unyielding, and you understand why surviving here is impossible. The land gives, but only for a price, and Rome takes everything, your farm, your family, your name. You're dragged to a cart, Claudia beside you, her face fierce but silent, the spiral stone in Quintus's hand, a relic of your defiance. The cart rattles toward the village, the torches, a sea of fire, the priests chanting Ceres' name. You look back, the south field fading its shoot, a green spark in the dark. You've saved it, given blood for life, but the village roam the gods, they'll bury you for it. Livia's face, Marcus's coin, they're gone and you're left with Claudia's chant. The earth's hum, the spiral's truth. You chose the old ways, the field's awakening, and paid with everything. Survival was a lie, a dream for fools, and you're no fool, not anymore. Sleep well tonight if you dare, wrapped in your modern comforts, far from Rome's hunger. But if you hear a hum, a chant, a wind that smells of blood and herbs, don't open your eyes. The spiral might be waiting, and it knows the price of waking the earth.